Clarity Nation. Yes, that's right. I switched up my intro on you because sovereign is like a pain in the butt to spell, and it's kind of a tongue twister sometimes, So let's get back to the clarity and make things simple for you guys. How does that sound? Nonsense.
Sounds good to me.
Sweet,
Yeah, we
man.
have plenty of complexity in our lives as it is. It's good to have some clarity through all of that.
Absolutely. Which leads us to the hot topic of the day, which is community and culture. I think a very hard lesson that we have all learned over the past 18 months is just how truly important community and culture is. We are not, it's not in our DNA to be a lone wolf. It's not in our DNA to be isolated beings. We are beings of community, culture. There's another C word that I was looking for and I forgot it, but it'll come back to me eventually. What we don't realize is when it comes to being on teams, when it comes to community, when we have those types of people, those environments in our lives, our we tap into that much more potential. We tap into that much more productivity, that much more performance, that much more everything. Because at the end of the day, to put it really bluntly, we're used to letting ourselves down. We've been letting ourselves down all our lives. You bought this online course, you didn't finish it. You didn't make it through your 3-month probation at a new job. You ran your business into the ground, crashed and burned, whatever the case may be. Having the proper team and the proper environment around to not only lift you up when you're feeling down, but to help you rise higher when you're rising, because a rising tide does raise all ships. It really does go a long way. And there is a huge amount of power in that. Yet it's something that we all struggle with, right? Like, I struggle with building communities. I don't know where you guys all think that I'm this master community builder comes from. I do have a lot of skills, but I struggle with it, right? I can walk into other people's communities. I can make a name. I can start some waves. But trying to figure out how to do that for myself is a big struggle. I know Nonsense and I have talked for a bit too. He's got his struggles working on that for his clients and in his programs. But being able to find ways to structure your environment and structure your culture to have that level of support is really going to be the difference between what makes or breaks us, not just as a coach, but as a business, as an executive, as a leader. I know you guys all get confused when I throw that term around, so I will define it. Every single person in the world is a leader. I don't care who you are. I don't care how old you are a leader, because if you cannot lead yourself, you cannot lead other people. You are not qualified. You are not equipped. You lead your spouse, you lead your kids, you lead your teams. Nonsense. How often do you have a client who out of the blue hits you up and says, their unsupportive spouse almost seemingly overnight is now supportive and wanting to like work out and do stuff with them because they've shown that example and they want to be a part of whatever program or community that person is in. You know what I mean? I'll let you take it over before I keep ranting.
I see a decent amount where, you know, I'll have friends and family of clients and students like asking about sessions or showing up to class because they've had the opportunity to see the growth that these individuals have made in their own practice and in their own commitments to themselves in that movement space. And it takes work, and it does take someone to start doing that work for other people to kind of recognize that there's value in that work and for them to jump in. Well, you're doing it. I see that it's working for you. I want a part of that too. And in terms of leadership, what you were saying, like that is a form of leadership, like leading by example, right? Like putting in the work and getting your loved ones to recognize that this is something that they can benefit from too in some way, right? But and then coming back to this idea of like community, right? It's once that starts happening, how do we get that commitment and that total buy-in? Because the students and those clients that have shown up and done the work, there was something deep within them that had that motivation for them to show up and do the work. But not everybody is in the same place in terms of having that commitment and drive to do the work for themselves. And so when we talk about having issues with community, it's how do we, at least in my own space, one thing that I've been recognizing is that I'm having trouble resolving the differences in the spaces where everyone's at when they're showing up, right? Because those people who aren't ready to make that commitment, they want what they see, but they aren't ready to make that commitment and show up and do the work for themselves. That becomes a challenge in retention, because the only way that they're going to get what they want from what they see is if they do show up for themselves. How do we manage that?
Yeah, and it applies to our personal lives as much as it applies to our business, right? We've all been in organizations where the team isn't as supportive as we need, or the leaders aren't supportive as we need, the culture isn't there, and we leave, right? We go look for that support, that camaraderie is the word I was looking for earlier, that we need in our lives. And I think that's one of the most powerful aspects behind sovereign health, in terms of it being a member benefit. And it's equally as impactful on both sides of the fence, whether you're an everyday person just like us that just wants to learn how to embody the highest and best version of themselves, and show up for themselves and their family and their teams, and be the man or woman that they want to be, or whether you're the executive or the leader that wants to be able to build a legacy, not just for themselves and their families, but for everybody within their organization. And we see a lot of that with DAOs. A lot of the DAOs that we're a part of, that's a common thing that comes up, is like, what kind of a culture do we want to have? What type of a community do we want to embody? And one lesson that I learned, like a long time ago, as I was leaving high school, I had no idea about business or nothing. And one of my friend's dads, when we were having a couple drinks together, he ran like an eyeglass warehouse. And he said the best lesson that he ever learned, and he could teach me no matter what I do, where I go, is when we take care of our people will take care of the people we want to take care of, right? So from a DAO perspective, because I know there's a number of DAOs that are listening to this, interested in the member benefits. I know there's a lot of people in non-census coaching programs or mine. It's the same thing, right? We take care of you guys. You guys are going to be less burnt out. You're going to be happier. You're going to be more fulfilled. You're going to be happier. You're going to be more productive. Most importantly, you are going to be more empowered when you're helping these respective organizations go and fulfill their missions, go and achieve their visions. You know what I mean? Like, it all goes hand in hand. But without our health, we're not going to be able to do any of that, because we're going to be too caught up in the system, playing the systems games to get the help that we need.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so help and support's a huge thing. And how do you build a skyscraper without a solid foundation to stand on and without all the right people and all the right tools in place to construct the thing, right?
Yeah. It's like, I'm pretty sure most of us have tried to build, stack playing cards in a house. Or, as kids bored at the restaurant, you take all of those little coffee creamers and you're trying to stack them up. It's the same thing. If that foundation isn't laid accordingly, that whole thing is just topple right over.
Mm-hmm. There's a, what's it called? There's a saying, a proverb. It's an African proverb. And it says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And as simply put as that is, like, it's really powerful.
Absolutely. I know you've been coaching for a while. You've probably seen this quite a bit, but I've seen so many people come through different programs or organizations that I've been a part of who have otherwise struggled to get results. And they get into the right program with the right community and the right support. And seemingly compared to the struggles they've had up to that point in time, they've seemingly surpassed their goals almost effortlessly, or what feels pretty close to effortlessly, just because of that community, that level of support, that camaraderie that comes. Like, I don't know who said it. I don't know where it came from. It's probably somebody's probably going to go, duh, Daniel, it came from here after I say it. But like, I think it's an old sales adage that no, I just don't even remember it. It'll come back to me. I guess I'm
Thought too
having
hard
one of
about
those,
where
like,
it came from.
yeah, I've got moving brain. I had to. I'm moving into I'm a first time home buyer. I move at the end of the month, and I've been trying to, around all of this, I've been trying to do all my shopping to buy literally every little thing I need for the house. So my brain is like fried on top of all this other stuff going on. Um, yeah, something about community.
Well, now I'm intrigued. Now I want to know what the saying was.
I know, man. I'll let you share some thoughts of community and culture. It'll come back to me.
Yeah, it's so teaching group fitness. There's a lot of,
Sports and fitness are the two most effective ways to build rapport and bring people together. Those are the
what was
two biggest ones. That's what I was thinking of. Sorry,
it?
Paul.
Sports and what?
Sports and fitness.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't heard that one. So I have no idea where it's come from. But yeah,
That that's
that
an
makes
old
sense.
sales adage. Yeah. If you want to build rapport fast with someone and get in their good books really quick, it's generally sports or something fitness related is generally a good common ground for people. And that
Makes a
speaks
lot of sense.
volumes to how a well-structured community can have an impact.
Yeah. So teaching group fitness across over the years, like the classes that tend to grow the quickest and remain big are usually the classes where the members are all getting involved with each other, like looking out for each other, letting each other know, oh, so-and-so's not going to be here for class today, or like, hey, are you going to make it in today? I'll save you a spot, but there is a lot of chatter within all the members themselves coming through the class that just makes it like the go-to spot, right? And that's really powerful. I've seen classes go from nothing to completely packed out. I've seen classes go from completely packed out and dwindle down to nothing. And the main driving force behind both of those situations was the level of community that was happening within the members that were involved. And all it takes is a few people who are willing to like step out and get to know the people around them. That makes the difference in terms of whether or not it's going to build or whether or not it's going to fall apart. So community is it's not to be taken lightly.
No, and that is community and culture are like two of the biggest driving factors for successful brands. Like, I, it's kind of a culty example, I would suggest. Um, now I'm scared to say what it is because I know I'm going to upset some people. But Starbucks is a great example of that. They've built a huge community and a huge culture around not even enjoyable $6 coffee. Like that goes to show how impactful putting the emphasis on the community and the culture and the values you want to instill within your whatever sphere you're operating in is, right?
Mhm. That's such a good point. It's just like they built a multi-million-dollar company on coffee. On coffee. Just coffee. This is what we're going to do. We're going to
$6
sell
coffees.
coffee. Right, right. Well, yeah, well, I go and get Americanos, right? It's like sub $3, but because it's easy. But yeah, the fraps and the chais and the things and the that's and the this, like, sure, I've seen someone order a $12 coffee before. That was fun to listen to them rattle off everything that that drink was going to be made from, right? But we just like that's the culture. Like they developed this thing where it's not only can you get a cup of coffee, you can get the perfect cup of coffee. And it speaks to everybody who I don't want a little sugar, I want a lot of sugar, but I don't want a lot of cream, I want a little cream, but I still want to taste the coffee, right? And that person gets taken care of. And then the person who comes in says, I drink my coffee black. It's this guy, right? I can get my black coffee, right? I got someone else comes in, it's just like, I want black coffee, but I want it cold. All right, well, here's a cold brew. Like they're taken care of as well, right? And everybody walks around with a Starbucks cup like a status symbol now. And that's the culture. That is just that 1000% culture. And they figured it out. They banked on that. And now, like, you shut down a Starbucks and people are going to get upset.
Yeah,
People in that community are going to get upset. Like, that's a great example.
that's what I said. It's kind of culty, but they've done a good job with it.
Right. It's the largest cult in America. I'm part of it. I go and get Starbucks every Sunday morning. Hop off the bus, get my cup of Starbucks, and then walk my way to the park.
And that's like, we can all build that. We can all develop that. That's something that really having the appropriate culture, the appropriate community where it's like, this is it. You just know this is where you're supposed to be and where you belong goes a
Mhm.
long way. And in terms of like a member benefit and the organizations that we're in talks with, it's the same thing. The conversations almost always revolve around culture, community, camaraderie. How can we bring each other together? How can we get rid of the corporate branded polished kind of stigmas and actually bring people together on a personal level to build those ties, to build those bonds as a team in order to rally and accomplish a common goal?
Mhm.
And it's to a point we're not seeing that within specific organizations. We're seeing organizations actually wanting to collaborate on this and come together and have a pool of everyone under the sun all coming together and building relationships and networking. And like fitness, That's a very good way to go about doing that. Everybody loves fitness. We don't always love the disciplines that we're doing, and we've really hammered that point home on a few episodes, on a couple different episodes. I don't think we need to get into it too much. And I notice we're pretty much out of time for the podcast here, but like it's a very powerful way to bring people together and say, "Hey, I care about my people. I want you here for the long term. I want you to be healthy. I want you to be happy. I want you to have a successful marriage and not be looking at a divorce because you're so overcommitted being a workaholic because I'm forcing you to be here all the time." Right? Having these programs where we actually show our people that we care about them is going to empower them that much more to go out there and show the people that you want to attract that, hey, you're welcome here. You can hang your hat. There's a home for you. And it really speaks volumes. And it's really cool to see organizations wanting to step up and implement this. And it's really cool to see that it's a shared vision. Like nonsense, you're a part of it. We've got Nero. It seems like every other day someone's in my private messages asking me how to get involved or for a job so that they can help us with this. Like it's I don't it's hard to wrap your head around the scale of what we're actually looking at, because it's everything from the corporate world to how we're showing up for our kids
Mhm.
is impacted for better or for worse.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then on that mark too, we've the phrase it takes a village gets thrown around a lot. And usually people like to apply it in terms of like child rearing, but I think that anything that you're going to give birth to and want to watch grow, like that's going to be applicable to your movement journey, to a business that you're starting, to a career change, anything. It takes a village. Those people around you to help cheer you on, and in turn, like you wanna be a part of someone else's success, because like you said at the very beginning, when the water rises, it lifts all ships, right? It's a really powerful thing.
So huge. Like, yeah, it's there's a lot of brilliant things that come when you find that clarity, when you have that alignment, and not just a sense of purpose, but a sense of shared purpose, right? Sometimes it doesn't seem or feel real until we have other people involved with us. And then it's like, holy crap, there's a lot
Yeah,
more here than I thought.
we're doing this. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many good things that like there's so like this could be like a long call. I get tactile and I'll give people like, especially out west here, we think that we have this bias or this stigma that asking for help is a sign of weakness, but it's a sign of strength. For one, you don't know what you don't know until you don't know it. And two, the same level of thinking that's creating your problems is not going to be the level of thinking you need to fix your problems.
Mhm.
Being able to accept feedback, accept criticism, and have open feedback loops is super critical. And one way of navigating those waters is what I call the OODA loop. And it's not a new system. It's lots of people coach on this. Lots of people bring this up. The OODA loop is an acronym. It was initially created in the fighter pilots in the military created it as a way of assessing feedback real time in the air, but it applies to business life everywhere. And it stands for observe, Observe, orient, decide, and act, right? So you take a look around, you observe what's going on, you let people know, and you welcome and appreciate that feedback. That's the observe. Orient, right? You got to pick a direction. You got to set your sails in a direction. Otherwise, you're not going to hit any targets. Then you got to make that decision to actually press forward after you've oriented. And that decision is not enough. We also got to act and take action. But there is a small actionable item that you guys can take home with you to actually implement today. Open those feedback loops and start building that community. There's no such thing as bad feedback. There's only bad presentations of the feedback. Take what works for you and, you know, orient your sales, decide on where you want to go, and take that action. When you're in the right place and the right community and you've communicated well, the people will rally. They will join you. It's that simple. That's really all I wanted to cover in today's podcast. I can't think of anything else to add on to that right now.
I think it's good. I think it's good.
Right on. So that's what we got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to smash that like button. Share this with somebody who needs to hear it. Guaranteed, there's still a lot of people out there that feel like they need connection, that need the camaraderie. We're always going to need that. We are social beings. Get out there, find your tribe, and, hold on to them within reason. Have a wonderful day, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll chat soon. Cheers.